today's schools are not your schools that you may have seen in the year 2000 or even the year 2005. Our schools are making adjustments because we have dedicated people wanting to do the very best, not just for some children, but for all children.
And I will say that we could take the entire forum to talk about the successes that we have in public schools. We do probably a very poor job of announcing those successes. So I'll take some time to talk about ours in Asheboro City. Our graduating class assessed over $2.9 million in scholarship, including a Moorhead Cane to the University of North Carolina. We have a Good Night Scholar to North Carolina State. That is basically the equivalent of a Moorhead Cane. It pays for him to attend state. It also gives him an internship with the SAS program. And we also have a Gates Millennium Scholar. I was not familiar with that program. It is an amazing scholarship where this student will receive assets and scholarships for 10 years of education following his graduation. He plans on doing all sorts of things with that. It includes stipends. It's a fabulous scholarship that's wonderful for us and wonderful for him. We also have things going on in our schools, in our elementary school, that are pretty amazing. And if you haven't been in an elementary school lately, I encourage you, please visit. The door is open. You will see education that is not like what we saw, what we had, because the world is different. The days of lining up in desks and memorizing facts and just spitting them out, those are long gone. There's a lot of education going on in small groups. There's a lot of discussion. It's very interactive. And a lot of learning. I went to a class at Balfour, a 5th grade class, and I was amazed. They were working on Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven from all sorts of different perspectives, and it was done in all the classrooms that we visited. It was stuff that I would have done in 9th or 10th grade, and they're doing it in 4th and 5th. And it's annoying to have people say that our public schools are failing, because the work that is being done in them is amazing work.
Just to add, our teachers and our students are absolutely phenomenal. They are extremely hardworking, they're very talented, and they are surrounded by people who believe in them and our strong families that really assist our students to meet the challenges that are before them. And knowing that our students are so bright and so talented and such great educators that work with them, that we believe very strongly that in Randolph County and Asheboro City schools that our folks are making a difference in the lives of our children.
The only thing that I see is dysfunctional is in Jones Street in Raleigh. You know, when I came on the board a few years ago, I didn't know what I got myself into. But after visiting and being around our 31 schools, our almost 3,000 employees and almost 18,000 students, we're not broken here in Randolph County. We have got a great group of staff that just give everything they can to our students, and I will fight for them until I get kicked off.
Well, when I see that question, my first answer is no. There's no hesitation in my voice. No, public schools are not broken. Public education is not broken. What the problem is, in my opinion, is we've been evaluated on a very narrow lens, and we offer a very comprehensive program. And so the question I like to do when I go around, and maybe some of you picked up on it, some of you haven't, but I've had great pleasure in the last 2 years finding out where everybody in this great community went to school. And I continue to hear Asheboro High School, Eastern Randolph High School, Southwest High School, Trinity High School, you name it, they were educated in the public schools in Randolph County. And I asked this question to somebody who wants to beat up on public education. And I am a product of public education, and I grew up in the home of a principal and a teacher. And I grew up wanting to go to that principal's high school. I remember those memories very vividly, and I got to go there. But here's what I ask you. How is public education so broken when you can think of your own experiences? So I look out in the crowd tonight, and one of my graduates when I was a high school principal is a teacher in our school system. The night I was named superintendent, I forgot where Whitney went to, but I knew she was a teacher. She emailed me within a couple hours of being named superintendent and said, "Congratulations, finishing my first year at Liberty Elementary. Can't wait for you to get here." About 2 years before that, I had probably the scare of my life as a little health concern. Had some surgery. Everything worked out. They put me in a room that night at Rex Hospital. I looked up, and when they wheeled me by, I was still under a little bit of that medicine they give you. And I like to talk, and they told me I had the rest of the night, so I'm going to talk, so just get comfortable. But I thought I recognized this child. This child, the nurse in charge of my room while I was there, was in my first graduating class as a high school principal. During my last stay in my last town in Raleigh, our dentist sold her practice. My wife asked me, "Do we need to look for a new dentist?" I said, "No, Kelly, my appointment's next month." I didn't notice the name of the new dentist. I walked in, she was waiting on me. She was one of the students when I was assistant principal at that high school. That's not broken public education, folks. That's a productive education system that's producing leaders that are taking our spots. I'm walking the schools of Randolph County schools to see who's going to be the superintendent 20 years from now in this school system. This school, public education, is not broken in the state of North Carolina, and we need to figure out a way to change this message because it's wrong.
Thank you. There were several questions that were submitted about school funding, so the series of next questions will be on this topic, and I'll ask Dr. Gainey to kick off the next question. We all know that in the General Assembly, the House and the Senate are still working on passing a state budget for the 2015-16 fiscal year. How has the lack of a finalized state budget affected decisions you have made for the upcoming school year, and what are you most concerned about in the upcoming budget?
Well, it was interesting today. I was in a meeting in Chapel Hill with Dale Brinkley, one of our staff members in the school government, and the idea of innovation, the concept of innovation was put out in front of the group, and it bothered me because it's a struggle we have in leadership and public education. How has the budget affected us? So much is on hold in this August. Any expansion, any innovation, anything you've done the previous year is on hold many times this time of year. And that's unfortunate for one group, kids. This is all about kids. This is because when we focus on kids, everything else falls into place. For the employees, the staff members, they get the thrill of their lifetime too, because that's what they wanted. They wanted to see kids grow and have bright futures. Now, what are my concerns about the upcoming budget? My concerns are, I don't know what we're going to do about driver's education, but it's a cost that the local school systems cannot take on. And it's a cost that the larger society does not want to take on as a byproduct when we have untrained drivers. Teacher assistants. I'm very concerned. Very concerned. School systems around this state prepared for a $24.3 million reduction. Now on the table is not only that amount of reduction, but another $57.5 million reduction and another $113 million reduction in teacher assistants. That'll equate in our school system to 84 positions. We're very concerned about that. We can't afford to lose them as class sizes do continue to trickle up, regardless of what you read. Technology. Technology. We're moving into a new world. That's what we heard a lot today, didn't we, Dale? It's a new world, and we owe it to our children to continue to grow with the world as it changes and put them in positions to be successful. I'm very concerned about that. And you know, as I've said to our board, and our board has been right in there, we've done some hard work, and I'm very proud of our school board. But you know, Randolph County hasn't gotten any smaller. We haven't closed any schools. And last I looked, I think we're the second largest county in the state, geographic size. A lot of people don't realize that. I didn't realize it when I took the job. So I drove from Trinity to southeast Randolphville. I thought, oh, I've been gone for 3 days. But I say that because watch the budget, folks. Transportation money keeps getting tinkered with. It keeps getting tinkered with. We have to run yellow school buses. We owe kids a safe ride to public schools every day. I understand there's choice out there, and with choice, people provide their own transportation, but we owe it to children to run buses in a timely manner and get them in a position to learn.
I think the thing I'm most concerned about in the upcoming budget is of course, people losing their jobs. It's never good for anybody to be in that position, to have to think about people losing their jobs. I mean, and right now, that's what we're looking at. Unless something changes, like Dr. Gainey said, we're looking at losing 84 regular teacher assistants over the next year. And that's significant. That's a lot. That is my biggest concerns for the upcoming budget.
We continue to try to be excellent stewards of the public's money, working with our Board of Education and our district leadership to really think about where we can maximize our resources, knowing that we do not yet have a final budget. So those decisions become much harder. Specific to this school year, we've tried to make the decision not to rehire for several positions where our employees resigned or retired. And another example is our driver's education program. While we did conduct a program this summer, we have not yet scheduled any additional funding or programs for the upcoming school year due to the uncertainty of funding.
There's not much else that I can add. I will say that we've been blessed in Asheboro City and I'm sure Randolph County also in being forewarned of this. We have been talking about the budget in this particular year and how devastating it is going to be for a number of years. And we have done, as Dr. Worrell alluded to, we have done things to try to make it as painless as possible. It's forcing us to use funds that have been set aside for natural disasters, and I saw where someone said we're using them for political disasters. And that's not right. You know, we shouldn't have to invade to give our students what they need. And that's what I'm concerned with, that it's ultimately the students that are going to be harmed by not having a budget and by having a lack of funding. And you'll hear that funding has increased towards education. And it has, but that's because we have 150,000 additional students. It's not a per student increase, it's an increase in the overall. So keep that in mind when you hear those figures. And it's very concerning.
I'm concerned overall about the uncertainty of the budget. I'm concerned about the loss of teacher assistants, especially at this late time. I'm concerned about the salaries of our teachers because we know that our teachers are the key to quality learning. I'm concerned that our state may not make the necessary investment so that our teachers will have the resources to teach every child well. We don't want our teachers to have to work with sticks and stones. We want them to have the tools necessary for them to do the best job possible. So they are some of my concerns.
I wanted to add one more thing on the budget too. About 6 years ago, I was doing a budget presentation in the last school system, and a news reporter got me on the way out the door and said, "You mentioned mentors, and you you're concerned about mentor pay. And I said, that sounds like something of concern. I said, well, I don't think you have a long enough time to do a story on that right here. Those days we were learning the possibility of mentor pay going away, and that's where the veteran teacher received a stipend to mentor and help the inexperienced teacher. Well, what teachers did when that money went away is what we've always known teachers to do. Teachers said, the inexperienced teachers need our help, and we're not going to walk away from them. So I remember very vividly Joe Lapp, Barbara Blaylock, Betty Buffington, Joan Thomas, Bob Wolf. They did that to me at Apex High School in 1993. But now here we are in 2015, and we not only want to talk about cutting, but we want to put in writing that a 25-plus veteran teacher need not expect a raise. Folks, we're headed down a long path that's going to be tough, because those 25-year veteran teachers, and there's plenty of 15-year veteran teachers, and they're still putting their arms around young teachers. And make no mistake, that's why public schools are as successful as they are, because there's nurturing. There's nurturing. It's not just nurturing students. It's nurturing teachers to get adjusted to the profession. So there's a big concern. I don't know how. I'm sorry I didn't say salary, Dr. Atkinson, but it was on my list. But we're asking for our institutional knowledge to walk out the door. And these people retiring, talk to them. Talk to them. They're not jumping to retire. They're not jumping to retire. They love what they do. But it's putting them in a bad situation.
I just want to add to that. The Department of Public Instruction has worked with schools having difficulty in improving student achievement. There's always a common thread among those schools, and that is that the faculty continues to be inexperienced, and that there is that turnover. Experience makes a difference in the lives of our students in our state. I was a much better teacher my third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth year than I was my first 2 years. And I was so fortunate to have teachers who took me under their wings when I first started teaching. And again, that is at the core of our students learning, to have experienced teachers in our classrooms. And of course, with having new teachers and you have that mentoring experience, they can become great teachers at a faster pace than if they did not have that experience of having experienced teachers in the school to help.
Let's take that subject a little bit further, and Dr. Atkinson, I'll ask you to kick off this one. Teacher compensation has been in the spotlight in North Carolina now for several years. Where exactly does North Carolina teacher pay rank in the nation, and what impact is teacher compensation currently having on our ability to recruit and retain the highest quality teachers? Also, is it true that teachers are leaving North Carolina and being recruited by other states such as Tennessee, Virginia, South Carolina, and Texas?
Let me answer the last question first, because that's one that just requires one answer. Yes. What we see, and there are several organizations that publish where North Carolina and other states are ranked in teacher pay. Typically, we are either 45th, 46th, 47th, 48th in some places. So we continue to have teacher salaries in the lower 40s compared to other states. That is a problem. That is a problem as it relates to teachers pursuing how they are valued in our state. Now, I know that teachers did not enter the teaching profession to become rich, but they didn't take a vow of poverty either. So that's why we have to show that we value our teachers. When you look at countries doing better by some measures, you always see that they value their teachers through many ways, including salaries. So That is one of our challenges that we have. We are not at the top of the list, and when Harvard University says that North Carolina is getting the biggest buck out of its bank for its investment, that's saying a lot, because we're asking our teachers to do work that is critical to our country and to North Carolina, and we need to compensate them in a way that would show that we value our teachers.
And there's a lot of ground to be made up, thinking about the average teacher salary, and thinking about our veteran teachers, and things that we can do to show them how important they are, how much we value their hard work, how much we value their experience, and so that they can make a living wage, so that they can continue to work in our classrooms, prepare for our students, and not have to have second and third jobs, because that takes away from what they can do in preparation for our classrooms and all the extra clubs that they work with and the coaching responsibilities they have. They just need a living wage, and we deserve it.
I've never seen a profession that's so demonized as teachers, to me. I mean, think about it. These people are responsible for every type of society's job. They come in contact with these people that take every job that's in society. But yet, we don't respect them or hold them to a standard that they deserve. And here in North Carolina, the teacher pay speaks loudly. Since from 2002 through 2013, the percent change in salary, North Carolina is last. Last. We can talk about how much the budget has increased, and those will be the talking points that you'll hear out of the General Assembly. But we need to take care of these people who are taking care of our students. I'll be honest with you, it burns me up. It burns me up to treat a profession such as teachers the way that they're treated when it comes to compensation.
The next question, I'll ask Ms. Redding to lead off. James Hogan, a former high school English teacher and currently a writer and fundraiser for Davidson College, has written about North Carolina's step-by-step war on public education. His writing was featured in an August 7th Washington Post article by Valerie Strauss. Mr. Hogan outlined actions and proposals of our General Assembly over the past few years that he believes constitute a war on K-12 public education. Examples include discontinuing the successful teacher preparation program called the Teaching Fellows and eliminating master's degree pay for teachers. Those are just two examples that he gave. I'll ask the panel, what do you think has been the most damaging decision by our General Assembly in recent times, and how will it impact our schools in the long term? Ms. Redding?
I will say that I don't think there's any one thing that is the most damaging. It is the combination of, as Mr. Cutler said, the demonization of the profession. First of all, we don't pay you what you are worth. And then the legislature decides to take away your tenure, to take away your benefits, to attack you at every level, to put a grade on your school that is based on a arbitrary day and how people perform. It's clear, I think 5 years ago, I had a conversation with Dr. Frost where she mentioned public schools are under attack. And at that time, I was fairly new to the board, and I thought, well, that's a little dramatic. Little did I know that that's the truth of the world. And as Dr. Atkinson said, the teacher is the most important resource that we have. We can have the most beautiful facilities. We can have all the technology in the world, but it boils down to the teacher in the classroom making a connection and engaging the student. And what it appears is those teachers, those very teachers, are under attack. And if we're not going to value you financially, we can try to do something to value you as a person, and that is being taken away from you. And that is scary. I hate the loss of the teaching fellows because it does provide people who are talented a way to become teachers and to encourage teachers and encourage them to stay in North Carolina. But I think overall the most damaging thing that is being done is the damage to the morale of the teaching profession.
I don't know if there's, Ms. Redding mentioned multiple things. I just, when I look at what's going on with public education, and then I think about society as a whole, and I just sit back and I think, what's the one chance everybody gets? Regardless of what side of the street you grew up on, what town you grew up in, what your parents did for a living, how your home life was. The one chance every child gets is public school. Everybody gets that chance. I don't know of another one that everybody gets access to. And I just, part of it is because I grew up in a home with public educators. But I just it pains me when I see that we're willing to risk that. And I don't know that I can point to one thing that that says that's what we're doing is risking it. I can see a lot of things. Tell me exactly, did everybody that went through a master's program, even if it was the same program, come out with the same results and the same learning? Probably not. But I did a doctorate. And I learned, I don't know about the content as much as what I learned from the mentors I met during those 4 years. And that I may have learned more when they pulled me into their office and tell me about something they had witnessed in the school system. We can't put a value on what a master's program means to somebody, but we surely don't need to devalue it by not paying people. And that's just one of the items, Ms. Redding. You're exactly right. There's multiple. But let's don't lose sight of what public school's for. It's to give everybody a chance. And when those public school teachers get to those kids, they get better than a chance. They get way better than a chance. And I've been a part of 4 public school systems in this state: Alamance, Wake, Randolph, and Craven, which raised me. And I can tell you, there's not a problem in any one of those 4. So Dr. Atkinson, I'll take the ride through all 115 because there's great things going on in all 115 in the state.
And we're not producing enough teachers. So we need to attract and retain our very best teachers and provide the professional development so that they can constantly stay updated and constantly focusing on how do we get better to truly serve our children so they have as many options and opportunities when they leave our schools being prepared for the challenges of the future, being truly college and career ready so that they have choices.
I think the thing that's the most damaging is our lack of focus on our students and the decisions that are made that affect them. It just seems like every year there's something new or something that just comes from right field that you just don't expect. And I feel like, how can we plan? How can we make sure we're providing what these students need when it seems like we're constantly changing? It just seems like we're evolving and changing all the time. And when I was in school, we did it this one way. And I don't know, it just seems like we've lost focus on really what we're doing, what we're supposed to be doing.
And we are very focused on and very fortunate in our community to have such strong commitment from our county commissioners and our boards of education and our community partners, our local libraries, our North Carolina Zoo, all of our business partners, our Chamber of Commerce, they are extremely